Hello, Resurrection. Today is Thursday, July 16, and I am in my dining room again. Church this Sunday, that is Sunday the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, will be online again. It'll be right here in my living room, and we will watch through Facebook Live or through a YouTube recording posted after church. And we're doing that out of an abundance of caution to make sure that we are not spreading the virus through cases or suspected cases among our own members. I continue to know more and more people who have come in contact with the virus, and even some who have contracted it. Kim's baby brother, Kenneth, has got it right now. Seems to be fine, but he has tested positive. And we have a few church members who have tested positive but seem to be doing okay. Please keep my friend Chip in your prayers still, who continues to make progress but have a terrible time with this virus. It has gotten my attention, I'll tell you that. Chip is a young man. He runs Ironman races, and this has really gotten to him, and he still struggles. So y'all pray for my buddy Chip. The church office will reopen this coming Monday. Now we're going to still encourage the church staff to do as much as they can from home, but I'll go back to some more regular hours, and I suspect some other folks will too. It is much easier for us, most of us, to work in the office than it is from our home. Having a small staff and having enough space to distance ourselves in the building really does help a lot. So it's a fairly safe place for us to be. So if you need us, we are always available through our email or through our cell phones. But we will be having some more regular office hours again starting this Monday. We will continue to do that as long as we can do that safely. We'll also go back to having church, not this Sunday, but the next Sunday in the church building. Now, we've taken 2 weeks off from doing that, but when we were back in the church before, our attendance is quite low for those. I'd say we're averaging 20 to 25 in the early service and maybe 20 in the late service. So I think the vast majority of our parish is not ready to come back and worship in person yet, and that is fine. You have to make those decisions on your own. I will continue to have church in the church for those who feel comfortable and safe doing that, as long as we are allowed to do that by the bishop. And as long as we can do that safely for our own members. If there's any risk at all, I'll close it down again. I know that people will get this virus, but I don't want them to get it from us. So we'll just be very careful with that. We'll continue doing it as long as we can, but we'll be careful. We'll also be obedient in doing it. We will try to be faithful and obedient at the same times. This is not the first time in the history of the church that faithful and obedient sometimes fight with one another, and we will make those calls as we must. So this Sunday will be online, as I said, and the next Sunday we'll be back in person. Now, I want to talk to you about you for a minute, and I want to talk about the church. Our oldest son, Patrick, got a real blow this week when he was informed that his senior year band season, the fall band season, will not happen. If you know Patrick, you know that's the thing that he lives for. He's good at it, and it probably means some scholarship money for him, and he just wakes up in the morning thinking about it and goes to bed at night thinking about it, and that's not going to happen his senior year. He doesn't know if the winter season will happen or not. And as we continue on, we're going to see more and more things like that. I know that you all are dealing with some depression and some sadness and a lot of disappointment. And I know that your kids are particularly as well. And that's going to continue to happen. I worry about the sports seasons coming up for our kids. I worry about their school year. Even things like testing People are having trouble getting the ACT taken and the SAT taken and things like that. I worry about so many things with my kids, not only the experiences that they're missing out on, but the things that will impact their future as well. Well, our kids are dealing with that, and they're dealing with real live grown up emotions around this too. But that does not mean that their parents aren't dealing with it as well. Nobody is where we thought we would be right now. I told someone just a few weeks ago, when I was a young man and thought about my career, my ministry, my calling in the church, I thought of all kinds of scenarios in my head. This is never one that came up. I never thought that I would be a priest trying to keep a church alive and healthy and active in the midst of a global pandemic. That just was never on my radar. I don't think it was on many people's radar. I know that you all are dealing with some real and terrible stress right now. I know that some people are afraid. Some people are afraid of getting sick, catching this virus, afraid for their families. I know that many of you are having terrible financial stress right now because of lost jobs and lost work. I know that many of you are seeing your friends and your family deal with all of this, and I want you to know that this is one of the reasons that you have a church. You have a church to help you get through this world. That is, after all, the point of the church. The church is where you go, who you join with to march with you through this world and into the next world. The church really, it's our job is to point folks to the next world, but to get them through the hard part, which is living in this world. And the harder things get in this world, the more you need your church. So I would encourage you to join in with your brothers and sisters, many of whom are going through just the same things that you're going through, and can help you with that. Pick up the phone and call me or call your friends, or do whatever you need to do to stay connected to your brothers and your sisters. Now, a lot of people are worried about the church, and here I'm talking about the Little C Church, the Church of the Resurrection. So I'll just talk to you very honestly about where we are financially and things like that. And I would say financially, we are right where we need to be. We don't have a penny extra, but we don't have a penny too little either, which is really what Jesus always promised us, that we would have just enough. And that's all you have to worry about. I know a lot of you have had to back off on your giving, and I will say that where you have had to do that, others have been able to give a little more to offset that. So you're okay. I don't want you to sit around feeling guilty or worried about that. The Church of the Resurrection is going to be okay. We were in the middle of a huge upswing when this happened. We'll see that level off. I have a theory. I have a prediction about attendance. I would say that about 40% of our folks, that 40% that wouldn't miss church if the building were on fire, that 40%, there will be no change with that 40%. They will continue to come to church and roll up their sleeves and do everything that they've always been doing. Nothing will change. I think another 40%, and this is probably the 40% that's in the busiest point in their lives with work and with school and with children and with finances and things like that. That 40% will at some point in the future have to say, okay, we're in a safe place now. It's time to go back, and they will have to kind of roll up their sleeves and say, now it's the time to get back in it. They'll have to get themselves back into the habit of regular church attendance, and they will. I'm not worried about that at all. Now that leaves a 20% portion of the congregation, and I think it is possible that we will see at least a 20% dip in our regular attendance and maybe even in our membership, meaning I think there could be about 20% of our folks that we don't see again. Now, I do worry about this, but I don't worry about this for different reasons. The worry that I do have is I want those folks not to walk away from their Lord, not to walk away from their faith. And so if they find another place to worship and to be fed spiritually, then there's not a thing in the world to worry about with that. I don't worry about the church with that because we're going to have some hard work to do once this is all over with. But hard work is nothing we've ever been afraid of at Resurrection. We will roll up our sleeves and we will get back to it. We will make up the losses that we experience through all of this. We will make those up. It may take a year or two, but probably not. We will make those up and we will surpass those, and we will get right back into growth mode, the growth mode that we were seeing. And that will happen sooner than you think. There's no doubt in my mind. There's really not. So I don't want you to worry about Resurrection. Resurrection is going to continue to do what Resurrection has been doing for the last 4.5 years. I want you to know that your church is going to be here, that Chad Jones is going to be here for you and with you, and that all of the folks that you have loved are going to be with you as well. Now, as far as programming, we are trying our hardest to keep the programming going as best we can. I've not started my Wednesday night Bible study back yet. I intend to do that soon. I have not done that over Facebook Live or over Zoom or anything like that because I just don't think it will work that way. Part of the beauty of that big Wednesday Bible study is the fact that we all come together, we share a meal, we talk, we openly exchange ideas, everyone's talking on top of everyone else, and it's a good thing. And I don't think you can do that over Zoom. I think we could try something different over Zoom, but I don't think it would be what we were doing on Wednesday nights. So we're trying as best we can to keep certain programming up and going. But I will remind you what I've always said about the church and about Resurrection, that no one ever came back to church because of the programs that a church had. They come back to church because of the relationships that they make. And that's the thing that we're good at Resurrection. That's the thing that won't go away, which is why I'm not worried at all. There is going to be some hard work for us to do coming up, but we've been doing hard work for 4.5 years. So I'm not concerned about that. I am concerned about you. If there's anything that you need financially, emotionally, physically, if there's anything that you need, all you have to do is let us know, and we will do everything in our power at the Church of the Resurrection to help you out, to get you what you need. We're here for you. We love you. I miss you, and I'll see you soon.